Good evening. Welcome to the regular business board meeting of the Board of School Directors. I will now turn the meeting over to Dr. Marseille.
Thank you, Dr. Van Lynch. As always, excited to see so many young faces in the crowd. So at this time, I want to pass the microphone over to Mr. Sean Bernanowitz, principal at Penn Wen, who's really going to talk to you about some wonderful things happening at Penn Wen. It happens every day, but we wanted to highlight that. Before we go, I do want to say, and to put him on the spot, that we're extremely proud of the success of all of our buildings. We do know that success for this district is measured in multiple ways. But we do know that there's a state standard out there that we may not like, and I'm happy to say that when you take a look at our elementary schools, and they do extremely well, and then you take a look at some of our students who are not performing as well as we'd like, I'm very happy that Mr. Bernanowitz's team has been able to do what we want every school to do, and that is show significant decrease in the achievement gap. And his performance was wonderful last year, continues to be, and the rate in which he's closing the gap is really a model that we want to emulate throughout all of our buildings for a subgroup of our students who just don't do well on those particular type of assessments, but they seem to be doing very well and growing at Penn Wen. So I did want to publicly acknowledge you for the work that your staff and your students are doing. So with that, please.
Thank you, Dr. Marseille. I'm fortunate enough I get to be the person at the front and hear those wonderful words from you. The reality is that I can't take credit for that on my own. I'm here as the representative of Penn Wen, but it's the day-to-day actions of the faculty, the staff, the parents, the guardians, the numerous support people that we have in our buildings that we end up with the type of success that we do. At the end of my slide, I had a thank you for all of you, but I'll do it now because it seems appropriate. We get to do all these wonderful things because we do have such wonderful children. We have such supportive parents and guardians. We have such a talented faculty and staff. But we also get to do all these things because we have the support of the board behind us. We also have Dr. Marseille leading us, encouraging us, prodding us along, encouraging us to take risks, to look at things differently, to talk about kids differently. And it's because of that sort of leadership that we've been able to achieve what we have. So as much as I appreciate the individual accolades, it's really not for me. It's the Penn Wen school community that deserves the credit. And I will be sure to convey that back to them as I have on more than one occasion already. Thank you. Get there. All right, Ms. Lopera. I need. There we go. I got it. Just thank you. Tonight, I just want to take an opportunity to first off share a few events that have occurred at Penn Wen Elementary that we are very proud of. Our first event that took place was the first annual Taste of Penn Wen. This was a celebration of the many different cultures that we have present at Penn Wen Elementary. One of the things that I say is that you frequently see the diversity of Penn Wen when you walk into the building, but it wasn't until this night that we truly felt all of the diversity that is present. As the name suggests, it was a Taste of Penn Wen, and as Dr. Marseille can attest, there was lots of food there. We had a wonderful night. Luckily, Dr. Marseille did not eat dinner. He came straight over, and my parents and guardians filled him up. Throughout the course of the evening, parents and guardians had an opportunity to go to travel. Our parents and guardians really took the time and the effort to put forth their best face representing their many different cultures. There were many different things that we got to taste, many different opportunities for our children to engage in learning in a very authentic way. We had an opportunity for our children to share their cultures and share some of the things that are unique and special about them. We had over 37 different countries and cultures represented, and we also had roughly 500 people attend the event. It was a wonderful event. It was our first time out. We were a little hesitant, but I really need to acknowledge the parent leaders, Anne-Marie Castro-Doe and Chrissy Pagana, who really spearheaded this campaign and made sure that it came to life. We are already in the talking stages about next year, and it will become hopefully an event that we do every year at Penguin Elementary. The second program that I wanted to share a little bit of information about is that our home and school sponsored an artist in residence program with the Chosen Dance Company. We had Mr. Clyde Evans come in and work with our third grade students for the month, examining hip hop culture and specifically looking at dance. So we had Mr. Evans come. He is not only a dancer, but also a professor at Drexel University. So it was wonderful for our kids to get to see somebody who wasn't the typical, the prototype of what they think of when they think about Drexel University professors. And then I introduced Mr. Evans, and everyone was like, "Oh, he's a professor and he's a dancer." So it was a really unique blend. And our parents and guardians did a wonderful job working with our special area teachers as well to have our third graders work throughout the month with him during their different special area times. Part of what they did in their art classes was graffiti representations of their names. We have some of those hanging out in the hallways for you to enjoy throughout the course of the month. We started with a kickoff assembly with Mr. Evans and his dancers, and the culminating activity was our third graders presenting and dancing for the entire faculty and staff and student body. It was a wonderful event. It was a great culminating activity. Again, a parent-driven activity that really was successful for us at Penn Win. The third event that I wanted to share a little bit of information about is we had our first meet and greet for black families at Penn Win Elementary on February 4th. Parent leaders Nigeria James, Angel Gaylord, and Kimberly Garrison proposed the idea of coming up with a networking opportunity for parents and guardians to come together as a community. So we brought everybody together. We were very fortunate that we had the Becton Scholars come. They provided childcare for us. We had an opportunity to share a meal, and then we had the chance to engage in discussion and dialogue. We had 23 families represented at this meeting. It is the first of what we hope will be many more meetings that come along in the future. And again, I just wanted to acknowledge the parent leaders that were involved in bringing that to fruition. So that was the parent piece. We had 3 different activities, really parent-driven, and now we're going to have an opportunity to share some of our student-driven activities. We have 2 programs at Penn Win Elementary that we're very proud of. One is called Kids with Heart. The second is RARE. And then finally, we're going to have our teacher leaders share a little bit of information with you about the STEM initiative that they've undertaken in conjunction with Arcadia University. So at this time, I'm going to ask my friends from Kids with Heart to come on up, and my RARE students can line up behind them so they're ready to go as well. The Kids with Heart program was introduced at Penn Win Elementary in 2012, and when it was initially introduced, it was Autism Ambassadors, and it was specifically designed for our typical students to learn how to engage with our students who receive autistic support. In 2013, we expanded the program so that it was more inclusive. We changed the name to Kids with Heart since we were engaging more students and a greater variety of students with needs. Among the different activities that our students engage in, there are social activities, there are day-to-day living activities. They work and serve as role models for their students who are receiving support services. Things like, how do you ride the bus? How do you get your lunch in line? When you want to find a seat in the cafeteria and maybe there isn't a spot, what do? They take the students during our reverse mainstreaming. We go outside, we work on play. If you wanted to join a game, how would you go about doing that? We have games that we've modified and adapted so that we make sure that our students who have special needs are included. Throughout the course of this, we've had 3 teacher leaders who have really shown and been in the forefront of this. Ms. Shannon Herbert, Ms. Lauren Seaman, and Ms. Mary Lynn Gambone. Both are 2 of them are special education teachers, and one of them is our speech therapist. And it, again, just speaks to the power of all those professionals working together to support our children. At this time, I'm proud to introduce my 4 students who are going to share a little bit about their participation in the Kids with Heart program.
Good evening. My name is Thanos. I'm going to tell you how the Kids with Heart kids benefit to the special needs kids. It gives them a friend because sometimes they could be lonely. And it's someone to sit with at lunch or recess, to play with them at recess. Also, it's someone that they know in their homeroom class, and they could say hi to them, or in the community, or in the hall of their school.
It impacts the kids that are in the general education population by teaching them that they're the same on the inside as us, and that we can do the right thing and sit with them and stuff at lunch. Teaches us how to interact with special needs kids, and we can reinforce their behavior by teaching them good behavior.
Hello, my name is Matthew. I'm going to be teaching you what I think the kids like best and what I like best. Something that I like is how to teach them to be a better friend, and I think they like that so they don't lose any of their friends.
Hi, my name is Phoebe, and I'm going to tell you about how we raise awareness throughout Penn Win. So every year we do a project to raise awareness. This year we're doing a firework, and it will say like Penn Win is bursting with autism awareness. And we also give out ribbons every year to also raise awareness, and we have some ribbons for you also.
The second student program that we'd like to highlight is our RARE program. We're going to have Mrs. Lynn Partridge, our assistant principal, introduce the students and the faculty and staff that have been instrumental in bringing this program to life.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. As assistant principal, it's my privilege to act as facilitator for our RARE program, but it would not and could not go forward without the help of this staff whose names you see listed: Mrs. Joan Harris, Mrs. Jane D'Amico, Ms. Kathy Marion, and Ms. Shannon Quinn. In order to counter the narrative of negative self-image of the term and experiences of being a minority, we have chosen the term rare. And the dictionary definition, rare is not occurring very often, not found in large numbers, and consequently of value, unusually good, remarkable, or excellent. Researchers report the importance of developing a scholar identity for our African American students, one in which students really see themselves as intelligent, studious, competent, and capable in schools. The purpose of this scholar identity is to increase our students' motivation to achieve, sense of self-efficacy, and strengthen their positive racial identities. We have created the RARE program to promote this positive academic self-identity for African American and multiracial students of color. RARE, or Realizing Achievement by Recognizing Excellence, is a weekly program in which our students of color in grades 4 and 5 meet for the purpose of conducting research. Using technology, the rigors of the Common Core standards, students will generate questions, read, take notes, and create an interactive display for school-wide use during Black History Month. During the month of February, classes were invited to go, all of our classes were invited to go on a Black History treasure hunt to answer questions based upon the research of our students that is displayed in our atrium. Our RARE scholars, 4th and 5th graders, acted as docents to guide our younger children in kindergarten and 1st grade through this interactive display. In this way, all our students and staff will learn about this important part of America's history. And now a word from our RARE scholars.
My name is Sophia Abdulmalik, and I'm in 4th grade. I have been in Rare for 1 year. What I enjoyed about Rare is that I can go with other students and learn and enjoy the experience of studying about American history. I have learned that there are many people to name who helped in the civil rights movement, and we can embrace their accomplishments during Black History Month. Also, I have learned that I enjoy researching about people's lives, and I enjoy it even more when I do that with other kids. Rare is important because it helps me practice writing, reading, art, and public speaking, something that I have improved in over the past 2 years. Rare rocks.
Hi, my name is Rissa Howard, and I'm in 5th grade. I've attended Rare for 2 years. What I've enjoyed about Rare was starting a Black History treasure hunt and getting to be a docent about it to the school. I also enjoyed getting to experience researching in a group and independently. What I've learned about Black history in Rare is that so many people who are African American contributed a lot to America's history. Without African Americans, we wouldn't have as many great leaders in the world as we do now. I've also learned about so many heroes and leaders that have helped me to be able to do all of the things that I can do today. What I've learned about myself in Rare is that it's so easy for me to give up, but if I keep trying hard, I can create a project that I can be really proud of and that expresses me. I've learned that taking the easy path in life may be fine at first, but when you look at the larger picture, if you challenge yourself at the beginning, your hard work will pay off. Rare is important to me because I'm learning so much more about Black history than I would ever have learned without it. It's also important to me because it helps my listening, writing, and speaking skills a lot, and I'm getting over being shy.
Definitely.
Hi, my name is Alana James, and I've been in Rare for 2 years. I most enjoy taking the kindergarten and first graders out to the display case that we put together and explaining to them what the purpose of Rare is and why Black history is important. I also like doing the research that went into the case. I think Rare is an excellent program to have at the school, and I'm so sure that the students that are a part of Rare get a lot out of it. Having Rare at our school is also important because most teachers don't really get to teach Black history, or do, but can't cover all the important parts. I think it's not good that teachers aren't given enough time to teach Black history, which causes them to not teach Black history to the extent I would and others would enjoy them to, but at least they're teaching a small portion of it to their students. I personally think that the whole school should at least teach 1 full week of Black history. I think that would be very educational.
As you can see, by creating this community of learners, it is our hope that our students will see themselves as experts in this shared experience, learn about lesser-known civil rights figures and events, develop a positive racial identity, as well as valuable academic skills. Please be sure to check out our work in the display right outside this boardroom later on this evening. Thank you.
And we did have a 4th Rare scholar who was scheduled to join us, Jay Smith. Not only is she academically talented, she's also athletically talented. She's currently over at Harrington in a playoff game, so she was going to try to make it, but I guess the basketball game won out over the board. Don't take it personally, all right? I know she wanted to be here. So at this time, if you guys want to turn around so moms and dads can have a picture. Now, we know that our students are a hard act to follow, but the 3 ladies that are coming up right now, Miss Joan Harris, Miss Sherry Fletcher, and Miss Lisa Eisenberg, are certainly up to the challenge. They're going to talk a little bit about the STEM initiative that they're engaged in at Penguin Elementary.
Good evening. I'm Lisa Eisenberg, and I don't really think it's fair that I have to go after this terrific group, but thank you. I am a fourth grade teacher at Penn Win, and my colleagues, Joan Harris, Sherry Fletcher, we are very thrilled to be a part of the first STEM cohort here at Lower Merion, working with Arcadia University and really bringing STEM to the elementary students. If you're not familiar with STEM, it's an acronym for science, technology, engineering, and math. We, probably one of the most important aspects of this program is the fact that we have the ability to work together. Even though we're in different grades, we've had opportunities to work with both the 4th and 5th grade students at Penn Win. Most recently, we were able to put together a kickoff for our science unit, energy and electromagnetism. This would not have been done without an awful lot of prep and planning between us. We also brought in our technology department. Ms. Goldberg was with us to help, as well as our Arcadia professor. And what we did was put together a program that was just so exciting for the children. We took an afternoon and we brought them all together, over 120 fourth graders in one room. We split them up after that and gave them challenges where they were able to use scientific and engineering activities as well as a computer simulation to light a light bulb. And keep in mind, we're sticking with our FOSS program, so we're not changing our curriculum, we're enhancing our curriculum. And as I said, the excitement of these kids was something that I wish you could all have seen. Actually, we have some pictures on our website, on our homepage, that you can take a look at, and we'll see them later. I had kids come back to my classroom and ask if they could stay and do science. That doesn't happen in 4th grade. But if, taking what we have and what we're learning with our graduate class and bringing it into the classroom and sharing it with our students has really been able to help us promote this love of learning. And instead of just being, knowing our content and being experts in content, as we teachers have to be, what we're able to do and what we really need to do is be agents of change and help our students, even as early as 4th and 5th grade, really spike that love of learning so that by the time we get into middle school and we get into high school, they're ready to go, and we are teaching them the skills that they're going to need to succeed in life. I think the most important thing of all is that when we take a look at what we've been working on, it doesn't matter the academic abilities of the children, the socioeconomic backgrounds, or the cultural backgrounds. Every single child that we've worked with in 4th and 5th grade that we have presented these activities to has been successful as well as engaged in what we've done. So we're really thrilled that we're able to be a part of this. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to Mrs. Harris to share some specifics about the lessons.
Good evening, I'm Joan Harris, and I'm a 5th grade teacher at Penn Win. Right there. So when Mrs. Fletcher and Mrs. Eisberg and I, we all get together and we come up with our lessons, and this is what our lessons look like. We first design lessons, we have a focus question, and that usually comes, if it's a science lesson, it comes from FOSS. And the focus question for all the children to pay attention to is how to light a light bulb. We have objectives for the entire lesson. We start a lesson after we tell the students what their focus question is. This was our introductory lesson. That happens to be a picture of our professor from Arcadia who came and showed us, who kicked off the lesson with us. But what we always do at the beginning of a lesson is we have the students model or draw what they think they know about this lesson, and that way we can see what they know, and we also can start to address misconceptions. And then we teach the lesson. When we teach the lesson, really the students experiment with the lesson. We incorporate technology and a hands-on activity to try and answer the question, how to light a light bulb. This was a 4th grade lesson, I think we said that. So we talk about the vocabulary in the beginning. So we told them in the beginning, we want you to learn how to build a complete circuit. So we're incorporating technology, we're incorporating vocabulary, and then the children are broken up into groups, and they actually had to light a light bulb with a battery and 2 wires and a light bulb. So they had to the hands-on experiments, so they learned actually how a circuit worked. They also went to websites that we find. We try and take these websites that actually enhance the lesson and for students who are just really starting to understand what electricity is, and also advance the lesson. These websites we have found extend the lesson for children who might already know a lot about circuits. We always have a wrap up to the lesson where, and you see all the orange sheets on the floor, that's where they actually redraw their model of what they learned. So they change what they learned, they model it again so that we have evidence and they can have evidence of what they learned. Also in the lessons, we always include what we call a design challenge. And this design challenge is a real world problem that we apply to the lesson. So we have not taught this lesson yet, but we've done it with adults. And the goal is there's a storm, and you grab your emergency kit, and then you realize you don't have a working flashlight. So the students have to create from household materials a working movable flashlight where we actually see how long it can move with the centimeter rulers. So they will create their flashlight. And every lesson has an application, and that's what we really want to stress. We also have design rubrics, so it's not just a paper and pencil test. The students are assessed through rubric as well as a test where they actually have to show their evidence of what they learned. We also have extensions. This is a schematic where it's actually what scientists use to show how electricity works. So we have extension lessons that we always build in. We also build in adapted lessons and an adapted rubric. Mrs. Fletcher is now going to talk to you about other design challenges that we've already incorporated.
A little shorter. Good evening. My name is Sherry Fletcher. I teach 5th grade at Penwyn Elementary. I'm the science teacher for our team. And as you can see, we incorporate a lot of design challenges in our science program since I've taken the Arcadia course this fall. One of the first challenges we did as adults in this program was the marshmallow design challenge. We had 20 pieces of spaghetti, 1 marshmallow, a yard of tape, and a yard of string. And we were to build the tallest structure as adults. Miss Eisenberg, Lisa, Joan, and myself rocked that design, okay? We were so excited. Our structure stood, and it was complete. Others fell, and we were so excited. We couldn't wait to do it with our kids. So within a week later, we set up the design challenge, and as you can see, the kids loved it. We're like, this is the way you teach science. This is how you get them engaged. So we began, this was the first thing that we did this year with the 5th graders, and they absolutely loved it. Couldn't wait to do more. Wrong button. I did. Sorry. And we got it, okay. So the next activity, as you can see, because we attend these courses, we all have the ability to meet other teachers in different grades that also teach science. So this particular lesson is a 2nd grade lesson in the FOSS kit that we decided to take for 5th graders because they still needed practice after what we were currently doing in forces in motion. We were teaching them about the pendulum, and they just didn't get independent and dependent variables. They didn't get the idea of how it even works, and one activity in the kit wasn't good enough. So just me taking this course, we were able to say, oh, that lesson in 2nd grade that they talked about at class last night, that would apply to 5th graders. Let's do that. And we were able to get the kids to work together, investigate, practice graphing, those independent and dependent variables, and when we assessed them, they did fantastic. Another activity we did was a design challenge during American Education Week. We had all All four fifth grades have a challenge. One class had to design a paper table, entirely of paper, to hold a textbook. Another class had to design a claw, a working hand, where they had to pick up objects and move those objects into a container that was 3 meters away. Another class had to do a watercraft that held weight and was still able to float using duct tape and straws. And the last group had to develop a zip line carrying a ping pong ball down the zip line within a certain time frame of 4 seconds. We displayed these activities. We worked on them in class. We developed using the design challenge process. They brainstormed. They created a model. They built their design. They tested it. It didn't work. They redesigned, tested it again until it worked. They persevered. They worked together, and they used all those STEM engineering design practices that we're currently learning in class. They were able to present during American Education Week for their family, and they did a wonderful job. And here are some examples. We have the paper tables. Everything is unique. Everything is different, yet it all meets the criteria, and it all worked. Lastly is the balloon card challenge. This was like the Super Bowl at Penn Win. We were so excited. This was the first challenge that we didn't do in class. They were to apply those engineering design principles independently. I have some examples here for you because the pictures really don't do it justice. They, actually some of my engineers are currently here with us this evening, but they designed these particular projects and they raced them. And each of the classes raced each other for a class winner. And then all four classes, all four winners raced each other for the mega prize of homework passes. So the stakes were high, and they loved it. They wrote essays about it, and I have kids coming up, we have kids coming up to us saying when they grow up, they want to be an engineer. So this class has transformed the way we teach. We are looking at science through a different lens, and we want to thank the people involved, the administrators, the board, for giving us this opportunity as teachers to have this partnership and become better at what we do. Thank you very much.
So as Sherry said, the balloon race day was like the Super Bowl. It was utter chaos, but it was controlled chaos. It was absolutely a well-oiled machine. They had heats, they had rounds, the kids cheered for one another. Dr. Marseille encourages us as administrators to talk about our stories. And one of the stories that I observed when I was up watching the balloon car challenge was a transfer of skills. One of the students who I have known since he came to us in kindergarten, who received autistic support services, and if his mom didn't pack his lunch the right way, he would cry every day because he was just so expecting things to be a certain way. And during the Design Balloon Challenge, I saw him win a round, and he turned and he shook the hand of the person on his right and said congratulations, and he turned to the person on his left and said congratulations. Later on, he was in a subsequent round, and again, he was in a round and it was getting closer to the climax, so to speak. He lost. He again turned to the person on his right and said congratulations, and again turned to the person on his left and said congratulations. Little guy who would get thrown off and have his day ruined if his lunch wasn't packed right was able to sit and not only win graciously, but also lose graciously. And when we talk about the skills that we teach our kids and kids with heart, and we talk about the skills that we try to embed in our kids throughout the years that they're with us, seeing that happen, just my heart just filled up with such pride. And it wasn't mine to own, okay, because there were so many people that got him to that point. It has been a pleasure coming here tonight. We thank you for the opportunity to come and share with you. We invite you anytime you want. We're there. Come and see us. 676 strong. We're always there, and the door's always welcome. Have a great night.
Thank you so much to Penguin administrators and teachers, especially the students. That's always my favorite part about business meetings, when our students come before us to present. I've seen the progression at Penguin. My older two are already out of Penguin, but I have a little kindergartner now who has the benefit of all these wonderful initiatives. So thank you to your leadership, and thank you for all the hard work that you're doing, and students, keep up the good work. Please don't feel compelled to stay. We would love to have you, but we understand this. We usually stay here till the dead of night.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you for being here.
Great job. Bond resolution.
Okay, our next speaker is Glenn Willard from PFM and David Twidell from Rhodes and Simon. They're going to review the bond resolution as the board remembers last month at Finance and also at the board meeting. We authorized Glenn to move forward with the new monies, the $10 million new monies as far as our final stage of our financing plan, and also to do a partial refunding of our 2007 bond issue. So Glenn is going to review those results, which end up being very positive for the school district. So Glenn's going to review those.
Okay, good evening, everyone. So you have a document with an orange cover page. I'll walk you through quickly. Maybe most importantly, we start out with your credit rating, and when you, at your leisure, you might want to look through this. Moody's publishes a credit rating for every bond issue that comes to market, and it describes the outlook and the strengths and the weaknesses of the district. And you have a AAA rating, which is certainly something to be very proud of. And so I would encourage you to look through that, and it gives you a good perspective of somebody, the point of view of Wall Street as they look at your indebtedness. So that runs on for 5 or 6 pages or so. Page number 7 then is the summary of the bids that we received today. The winning proposal is from a group known as Guggenheim Partners. They haven't bid on any of our transactions in some time, but they stepped up and they were the winning bid today. 8 different underwriting syndicates bid on your bonds, many household names there. So it shows what happens when you have a rating as strong as yours. In total, on the right-hand side there were these groups bid 54 times for your bonds. Also these bonds, while we think rates are low, we were able to sell these bonds with an 8-year call, so you will have the ability, if the market presents itself, or if for any other reason you want to redeem the bonds, September of 23, way down at the bottom of page 7 there. That's the call date for the new bond issue. The next 2 pages show how the bids came in today, starting around noon. I know Vic tried to watch much of this. It's not the most exciting thing to watch, but we were able to. Yeah, we did have a few technical difficulties, but anyway. So anyway, you see the bidding occurred from noon until about 12:21 today. On page number 10, this is the beginning of the refunding transaction. As he mentioned, this is the entire series of 07. Our instructions were to refund about half of those bonds. And so on page 11, this is the half of the bonds that we're going to refund. If you go to the next page, this is the half of the bonds that remain. And so you will have the opportunity at any time going forward. I think we said, we would probably come up and look at this again at the end of the year as we go into 2016. There's another refunding transaction, and so it makes sense to look at the bonds on page 12 at that time as well, although you're not obligated to do anything. Page 13, this is the escrow. We will purchase U.S. Treasuries with the proceeds of the refunding bonds. The bulk of them mature September of 2017. And they're invested in U.S. governments that we would buy in the open market tomorrow. On page number 14, this is the new bond issue. It shows all of the interest rates and the maturities. and the impact of this bond issue. In column 12, it's 9/10 of a mil spread out over the next couple of school years. Page 15 is the good news. In the far right, this shows you the savings from the refunding. Our instructions were to put the savings approximately evenly over the next 3 school years. So beginning in the 15 school year, it's over $900,000 a year, and then plus or minus $1,000 in those out years is what it is through the balance. Okay. Page 16 shows the composition of the bond issue, the use of the proceeds, the original issue premium and discount for the bonds, and then just concludes with page 17 shows you your debt summary at the conclusion, assuming you approve both of these, and then the last 2 pages are some information about the use of the construction fund for the different projects. So that's a quick summary of what's here. I'd be happy to answer any questions. If you have any, everything's in order. We do need to buy the escrow tomorrow morning, but we don't expect any problems with that. If you have no questions of me, then David would present the resolution to you.
I think David's quickly just going to go over the bond resolution that he's prepared, and then I'm going to bring the 2 action items for the board and open up for questions. Oh, questions after? Yeah, after the resolutions? Okay. After about the action, yeah.
Very well. Good evening. You do have before you 2 resolutions. We are treating these as 2 issues for Local Government Unit Debt Act purposes. The resolutions are, of course, very similar. The way you can distinguish them is that the Series A bonds, $9,700,000. That's the new money. That is to continue project financing. The list of projects is appended as Exhibit A. That resolution would authorize the sale of the bonds that Glenn has described to you for the new money issue. It gives your bond trustee paying agent instructions for the issue, authorizes the filing of the documents with the Department of Community Economic Development. This resolution, along with the companion resolution for the Series B, which authorizes the refunding bond issue and the establishment of the escrow, have both been advertised prior to tonight's meeting for consideration in accordance with requirements of the Act. I have delivered a copy of the proof of publication of that notice to your secretary. Once you take action on this, we will make arrangements for the subsequent second notice to be given, which will publish the yields and range of interest rates, filing made with the Department of Community Economic Development for approval, where it will repose for 20 days. And so approximately 30 days from now will be the settlement for the bond issue. The new money will go into the construction fund for projects. We've identified the projects as the completion of, I guess we've got a middle school project. There is money available for administrative offices and to the extent available for other district projects. I would remind you that you do have the ability under the law to change the purpose of a borrowing for new money. Should you determine that that's appropriate, it would be appropriate to amend this resolution when you do that, but there's flexibility here to expend that money the way you deem most appropriate. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have about the procedure of the resolution. When it comes up for a vote, I would remind you that the law requires a roll call vote for debt incurrence.
Okay, Dave, we're going to do both recommended action items together, or do you want them separately?
I think you can do them together.
Okay. All right, so the recommended action item is...
Vic, before you do that, are we going to take public comment on this matter?
Well, I think we're going to...
He's going to put the resolution on the floor, and a motion, second, board discussion, public comment.
Okay.
Okay, so the recommended action item is that the administration recommends the Board of School Directors approve the resolution to issue general obligations bond. This is a Series A of 2015 for the purposes as David noted, and that's per the resolutions that have been handed out to the board this evening. The second action item is the administration recommends that the Board of School Directors approve the resolution to issue general obligation bonds. This is for the purpose of refunding a portion of the school district outstanding general obligation bonds in the series of 2007.
I'd like to open it up for board discussion and questions at this time. Diane, please.
Thanks. Glenn, just a couple quick questions.
On the 2005 series, the 2015 series, we had originally talked about an 0.05 and then a 0.04, and this has a 0.03 and then a 0.06 millage impact. Is that just because the way it worked out?
It's just the way it worked out, yeah. Some of it, I think that we delayed the, this all just took a little bit longer, so it changed which year it was in.
Okay, and it's not going to have an impact, Vic, on your planning? And then my other question is, on the 2007 bonds. Do we now have an earlier completion date on that? I don't know what the term is. Was it originally supposed to mature in 33 and now it's going to mature in 28? Am I reading that right, or am I confused?
Well, so on page 10, page 10 is if you do nothing.
Right.
So down at the bottom, the final maturity is September of 32.
Okay.
Okay, so if you skip 2 pages, on page 12, the final maturity is still September 32.
I was looking at 10 to 11, and then that's where my confusion is. Okay, great, thank you.
Please. Anybody else?
Yeah, Glenn, I'm glad you're here because I think you can absolutely answer this better than I can. But the conversation I'd like you to share is about the district's AAA bond rating. And for the large captive audience out there tonight, and to the rest who are watching, can you articulate exactly what does that mean when a district has AAA bond rating? What are the things that districts must do financially in terms to maintain that, and what does that look like across the rest of the state in terms of other districts in terms of their credit rating? What does that mean for us as a district?
Well, I'm going to generalize because
Sure.
I could have looked it up, but I didn't. I would say there are less than 10 issuers in the Commonwealth. A number like that are AAA, or there is nothing any better. The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania is AA3 or AA minus is the Commonwealth's credit rating. The county, as I mentioned, is AA1. You're AAA. There's maybe 2 or 3 other counties, maybe 4 or 5 other school districts that are AAA. So you're in a very elite bracket with that rating. So this is Moody's Investor Service. There's 3 major rating agencies that rate the bonds. Moody's is one of them. Moody's and S&P are probably the top 2. The U.S. government is not rated AAA by Standard & Poor's. They're rated AAA by Moody's, but not by Standard & Poor's. So that tells you something. Investors, as I mentioned, as an example, I didn't talk to Guggenheim, but they sort of showed up not being a regular bidder because they wanted to buy $40 million worth of AAA bonds, and their bid shows it. So investors are hungry. It's the best credit, and if you watch the financial news, there's a lot of things going on that are sort of unsettling out there in the world, and it just shows you, that's the benefit of being AAA, is investors show up and want to pay for your bonds. If you look through the report, there's items in there about the strengths and weaknesses in the economy and the relative wealth of the district. Those all go into it. The interest rates are better, obviously. I didn't say that, but AAA, if you're AA1 or AA or AA3, each drop down, you would pay a little bit more in the interest rate, and so the refunding savings wouldn't have been as great, or the millage impact for the new money would have been higher had you not had the AAA rating. Is that?
Thank you.
Questions?
Thanks for coming out again. I just want to remind everybody that this is the 3rd or 4th time we've talked about this. It isn't just happening now, but this has been ongoing discussion for months now. Can you talk a little bit about how the winning bid was determined? Like from the chart that's in the handout, it's sort of not the highest bid, it's not the latest bid, but it's the winning bid. And Can you
Sure.
clarify that?
Well, so I think you're looking at pages 8 and 9. So the way this works, maybe we'll start on page 8. So the bidding, we send out to, our list, there's 100, some names, something like that, and tell them the sale's going to happen it starts at noon today was a starting point. Many times the bids don't come in until the very end. It's a 15-minute window, so many times bids don't really start showing up to 2:12 or 2:13 or 12:13 or 12:14 in a situation like this. But here was at 12, the first bid came in. You can see how each time that they come in, the bidders can't see, the way this is set up, the bidders can't see what the other bids are. They can see their rank. So I can see that I'm in second place, but I can't see where I need to be in there. So I have to just keep bidding an improved price until I get the lead. And this has evolved over time. It used to be that at 12:15 we just shut the bid down, and so I've never bought anything on eBay, but I guess at 12:14 and 59 seconds, like a lot of bids can come in. So what we did was we came up with something we called the 2-minute rule. So if the winning bid comes in at 12:14 and 59 seconds, the bid gets extended, or the bidding time frame gets extended for 2 more minutes. So here, as you flip over to the next page, so it was scheduled to shut at 12:15, and you see the last bid came in at 12:21 and 42 seconds. So UBS was trying, repeatedly there between Janney and UBS. They kept trying to improve their bid, but they weren't getting, they weren't a new leader. And so the asterisk, that second column in from the right, where there's an asterisk, that shows you that is the winning, or the lowest cost bid at that point in time. And so you can see Guggenheim's bid came in at 12:19 and 53 seconds, and then that allowed it to stay open for 2 more minutes. I'm not sure if I'm answering your question, but so that's kind of how it worked.
You have a question? Let me check down here. Any additional questions to my right? Ben, please.
Yeah, thank you, Rob, and thank you, Glenn. I just want to also, I'm following on with Maureen said, is like last month we talked about the structure of what this new debt was going to look like, and then you needed that information from us to go out. So we gave you the information, go do it, get the bid, get the loan this way at this amount, and this is a very favorable result for what we were asking for. But this is what we were hoping to get, I think, yes. Correct. But we had to give you that direction. You can't just change gears today and do anything different.
We've talked about these different structures, the different refunding structures, the different new money structures. Once the board makes a decision, then we have to go and talk to Moody's about all that, and then once we have the rating, then we can go to the investors and say, here it is, it's ready to go.
Okay.
So that's where we are tonight.
Great, thank you.
Questions? Okay. Please. Okay, Diana.
Just one other quick question. I'm looking at pages 14 and 15. So on 14, the new money, it's $253,000 the first year.
Correct.
672 second, and then.
I'm sorry, Ollie, what page did you say?
Column 9,
oh.
Page 14, column 9, and I'm comparing that now to page 15, column 11. So in the first year, we'll save $912,000 on the 2007 bonds that are being refunded.
The
correct?
Portion of them, right?
So, right, a portion of them. And then the following year, it's 672 versus 913, and then 670 versus 908. Is that correct? I'm just comparing column 9 to column 11. So column 9 is a new expense, and column 11 is a new savings.
Oh,
right. The savings money is not allocated yet. It's not being thrown back into paying off.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
So
in year 1, I did the math. It's $659,000, roughly $660,000.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
Savings. Okay, great. Thank you.
Any additional questions? I'd like to take public comment at this time. Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it. Any public comment on the resolutions on the floor? Seeing none? Okay. Is there a motion to approve the bond resolution? How much detail do I need on this?
Motion to approve the two bond resolutions as presented by the finance team and as set forth in the agenda.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the bond resolution?
The two that are in front of you at the table.
Okay.
The ones that are on the board docs.
Motion to approve.
So moved. Oh, sorry.
It's okay, I'm just my second.
Okay. Motion and second. Second, Melissa. And we need a roll call, Ms. LaPera? Okay.
Dr. Golden?
Aye.
Ms. DiBonaventura?
Aye.
Dr. Gilbert?
Aye.
Ms. Pollard?
Aye.
Ms. Robinson?
Aye.
Mr. Driscoll?
Aye.
Dr. O'Leary?
Aye.
Ms. Ackman?
Aye.
Dr. Van Lynch?
Aye.
That's 9 yeses, all in favor.
9 yeses?
Yes.
No nays?
No noes.
The motion carries.
Thanks, bye-bye.
So Dr. Marseille and team is up next.
Thank you. Tonight I have a really brief presentation, and I do mean that when I say brief. So I don't want any looks over there on my team side. We felt that it was extremely important to update the board and the rest of the community with what has been an ongoing conversation around enrollment expansion and, as a result of that, bus parking. And I want to take you back to December 15th. If you recall, we did, because we did ask for authorization from the board. We felt that, and you agreed, that there was additional information that we wanted to go out and seek as we think through the complexity of enrollment growth and all of the layers of that process. So we asked, and you gave us permission to go out and seek additional information on some of the options that we've been discussing. And when you talk about these issues and the impact of enrollment growth, and one of that happens to be many factors, but the one we've been really focusing conversation on, because there's multiple factors, the impact of that is with more students comes the idea that we need to have buses removed from one location to make for that for the additional growth of faculty and students. So these 5 options were options that we currently have been investigating, options that even till this day we continue to investigate. So really quickly, we continue the analysis for the Lower Marion High School parking deck. Is an ongoing conversation. We've received a tremendous amount of new information that's helping us with our analysis, but there's still many answers that need to be fleshed through, and that really applies to all 5 of those options. Even option number 2, where we did have a conversation with the owner. We engaged in conversation with the township and the engineers. We did our due diligence in terms of the analysis And at this time, the owner has advised us that he is not interested in selling or leasing his property for bus parking. So we, like I said earlier, continue to think about, like many of these options, what are our next steps across the next couple weeks and next couple of months as we look through that. And the next two properties, Woodbine Avenue and Harrington High School, you know, there's been a lot of conversations about that. We know that conditions of prior approval does not permit bus parking or additional bus parking at Harrington. Very complex issue. We continue to obviously collaborate with the township, our commissioners, and continue to look at that as one of many possible solutions. We said before that they may be multiple scenarios in which we have to engage in to meet our needs. The Woodbine property is really no different in terms of use is not permitted in terms of zoning. So we want to make sure that even though that continues to be the narrative, we do continue to explore those options and where we are. Matson Ford Road has been ongoing. We are still coordinating with PennDOT and the two municipalities with regards to that property and how we can best support not only our current fleet, but room for additional buses in light of the growth, and the tentative sketches are to be reviewed sometime in May. So it might not seem for the general public, as we've been working with the commissioners, with the township, and with the support of the board. A lot of work has been done. We've learned a lot of new things, and those new things are going to shape the next steps in the conversation. So there are additional food for thought and data that we need to think about. What we're really excited about is obviously putting another layer of data points to helping us make an informed decision. And part of that comes with our work with the Montgomery County Planning Commission. And they've been working with us to bring a fresh set of data points to the enrollment conversation. And they are currently engaged in preliminary data analysis and the factors that impact our growth. And as you know, in 2012 with the Dijon Healy report, we indicated that as a growing district, you'd be very prudent to every 3 years update that enrollment analysis, and that's exactly what we're doing. And I'm happy to report that they will be forwarding to us their preliminary analysis, and we're looking forward to spend time with you reviewing that, and we're looking forward to sharing that information when it is ready for the public. And we have a couple dates that tentatively are on the calendar as we do this work. So some additional information for you and for the public with those options. We continue to investigate. We don't have definitive answers for you in either of those, because we continue to investigate as much as we can. And with this new layer of information, we hope that will help us make a better informed decision, not just about what we need now, what we need today, tomorrow, but what we'll need in the near future. So with that, if there are any clarifying remarks or statements that I can make for the board, I am more than happy to do that.
Open it up to questions and discussion at this time. Please.
Just a quick question, Wagner. Back to on point 3, I think it was on Woodbine. Like, we did ask the township if we bought that property for buses, it was their opinion it would be a not permitted use, and we would, if they stick to that, we would have to appeal. That's what that.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I just want to clarify. That's
Yes, thank you.
Thanks.
Question? Question? Oh, your mic's on. No problem. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
At this time, we will have audience recognition for agenda items only. If you would come and sign in with Ms. LaPera, and there's a 3-minute time limit if there's any audience recognition. All right, seeing none. I would like to move to routine recommended actions. Approve the minutes from the following Board of School Directors meetings. February 17th, regular business board meeting. March 9th, Education Committee Board meeting. The board accepts the following committee meetings. February 19th, Legislative Committee meeting. February 25th, Communications Committee meeting. March 9th, Curriculum. March 11th, Communications. March 12th, Facilities Purchasing. Are there any questions regarding the meetings and the meetings? All right, is there a motion to approve?
I so move.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'll turn the meeting over to Dr. Marseille now.
Thank you, Dr. Van Lynch. Before I do the superintendent's update or highlights, and that's an opportunity for me to share with you some additional accomplishments of our students, which we saw clearly a few minutes ago with Penn Wen's presentation and their wonderful team and their faculty. But before I do that, I do want to say that this board has met and has had active conversations since our February 16th business board meeting, where we presented the 2015-16 proposed preliminary budget. We continue to work together to find ways to lessen the tax burden to the community. This task has become even more challenging and complex as we are a growing district with continuing increases in student enrollment. I've said this many times before that Lower Merion School District continues to be the destination of choice for families in and out of state. And we're proud of that. And it speaks to the quality of programming that we have, the commitment of this community, and the wonderful staff that educate our students every single day. But we understand that there is a need for continued dialogue. We have set aside several dates where the community is invited to engage in conversation around the budgetary process. We will post those on our website. But preliminarily, we have an April 13th where we will be speaking with the Federation of Civics at the Bryn Mawr Community Center. Those times, 7:30 p.m., and all the details will be put on the website. We also dedicated a communications committee meeting on April 22nd to engage in further dialogue and conversation. And as recent as, well, as quickly as tomorrow, I should say, the finance committee will be meeting, and there will be conversations around the budget process, and the agenda is in board docs and up for review. So we do encourage individuals to come to those conversations, to answer your questions and to hear from the district with regards to the budgetary process. We are and plan to put on our website an FAQ, and I think that FAQ will help to answer some of the questions that we've been hearing around process and next steps. But I'd be remiss not to let the public know that we are listening, and we heard some of your comments. The board and administration continues to look at alternative ways to be more fiscally responsible and to lessen that tax burden. The budget process is a very long one, and we want to hear from you, and we want to talk about that process moving forward. With that, I do want to mention a couple of things. A couple of our students and programs that are highlighted across the state and across the country. I do want to say that Widener Program Champions, there was a trio of Lower Merion High School students who took first place in the 10th annual Widener University Programming Competition earlier this month. Senior Danielle Huckeroth and sophomores Noah Rubin and Elias Bickle competed in a variety of programming and problem-solving challenges that earned them top score among the 50 teams from Pennsylvania, Delaware, New Jersey, Maryland, and New York. We have 2 students who were awarded Gold Key recognition from the Scholastics Arts and Writing Gold Key, one from Harriton and one from Lower Merion High School. One is Andrew Schmind, who was recently recognized. Congratulations to his work. The annual competition is structured to spotlight the talents of students in grades 7 through 12 and potentially discover and nurture future leaders in art and writing fields. You had a very interesting topic entitled Beyond the Seams, Cuban Defection, More Complex Than What Meets the Eye. Very interesting. Was selected by a panel of Philadelphia teachers, writers, and literary professors as one of the most exceptional in the region from more than 680 submissions throughout Bucks, Chester, Delaware, Montgomery, and Philadelphia County. So interesting writing. So we also want to acknowledge Olivia Sun, who also received recognition, Gold Key winner in the Scholastic Art and Writing Awards competition for her work in metalwork piece. Sun's arc will now be forwarded to New York City to compete in the National Scholastic Art Competition. Will be judged by a prestigious panel of internationally renowned artists to determine if it will be one of the 1,000 works selected for a national award. So congratulations to both of them. And then our squash team continues to do extremely well. So congratulations to Lower Merion Heritage Squash Program for an excellent season. Both the boys and girls team advanced to the high school nationals and ended their season as the highest ranked public school team in the country. The boys ranked number 13th in Division I, while girls finished number 10th in Division II. So congratulations to them. You can never get enough of Science Olympiad here. It's just not fair. The type of teams when they show up, you think, okay, maybe we'll try another time. But really, it's some great teams and some great school districts who compete. So, at the end of the day, they're all winners, but we're happy that Heritage and Bala Cynwyd won their respective divisions at the Regional Science Olympiad competition, Newman University. Lower Merion and Welsh Valley finished in the top 5, and all 4 schools will advance to the state competition on April 25th. So congratulations to that. I promise I only have one more. I stopped it at that. The list is extensively long, but it was hard to choose from. So Bala Cynwyd High School 8th graders, Naham Dorman has been selected as the first place winner in the 2015 Philadelphia Young Playwright Young Voices Monologue Festival. Her entry was selected by a panel of judges out of nearly 300 submissions throughout the greater Philadelphia area. Dorman's award-winning piece entitled Broken Closets was performed over the weekend at Interact Theater, and there will be a final performance on Friday, March 20th. So congratulations to all of those students. Congratulations to the educators who helped develop those, and kudos to the parents and guardians who did their job as well and did it well. So those are my highlights. So with that, it's okay, I'll move straight to the first item, unless there were any questions or comments about that. So moving right along to human resource Action. The superintendent recommends that the Board of School Directors approves the human resource actions as listed in Exhibit HR-1 through HR-8.
There are questions or discussion? Is there a motion to approve? Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Pass it to you,
I
Dr.
would,
Lynch.
yes. I want to introduce Dr. Gilbert now with a report from the Curriculum Committee.
The Curriculum Committee met on March 9th, which was rescheduled due to weather delays, I believe. So I'm going to report on that meeting. The administration reported that after review and experience with other platforms, that we need a platform that would enable meaningful, specific, and timely feedback for teacher evaluation and other professionals related to the teacher effectiveness system in Act 82 of 2012. So the administration is recommending the purchase of the True North Logic platform to provide the most comprehensive, flexible, and cost-effective platform. The administration formed a committee of 7 members and had discussions in CIPD and Academic Council to evaluate 7 products against established criteria. The cost will be $63,000 in the first year and $23,000 per additional year over the 3-year contract. This replaces the approximately $12,000 plus per year we're currently spending. And the contract was reviewed by our solicitor and facilities and purchasing. And we were assured of the privacy of the data and our ownership of the data. The administration also presented an overview of required federal reporting measures, RFRM, from 2013 to 2014. So those reporting measures are based on attendance and graduation data, accountability data, achievement data such as PSSA, Keystones, and PASA, federal accountability designations, teacher quality data, and NAEP data. In every indicator, Lmsb exceeded the annual measurable objectives, or AMOs, established by the Pennsylvania Department of Education in both mathematics and literature. Board members expressed that we were glad to see that we exceeded PD expectations. We continue to be concerned about the existence of achievement gaps and wanted more data analysis presented on this area at future curriculum meetings. Another area of discussion that came up in relation to this because of the AMOs was about how to effectively communicate the implications of opting out of the PSSA and Keystones, which is becoming a topic that many people are concerned about. Parents and guardians may opt out students from PSSA testing based on religious objections. Currently, this will not affect a student's placement in courses. It will not affect funding the school district may receive, and it will not affect the validity of the tests. Depending on if the students opting out are statistically representative of other students, it may affect teacher evaluations, but the percentage of teacher evaluations based on the tests are about 15%. At this time, students who are opted out of the Keystones must take the project-based assessment. And finally, the participation rates do not have an effect on the school performance profile. This is important because there's been some reports that it does have an effect, and it does not, so there's no magic 5% or tipping point. It is theoretically possible that if the group opting out is not statistically representative of all students, then the school performance profile could be affected by a shift in scores one way or the other, but the administration feels that this is highly unlikely at this time. So we discussed how to get the message out to the public about these facts, and the administration has put an FAQ on our website, and I believe is sending information out through the buildings. And so how to best get that message out, as well as the fact that our teachers are not preparing students for the tests, or sort of teaching to the tests in the way that people are concerned about. And so we talked about how we can get that message out in a more effective manner. So the next meeting is scheduled for April 6th at 8:30 a.m. in this room.
Thank you, Dr. Gilbert. Dr. Marseille?
I'm sorry, can I just ask a quick question? Dr. Gilbert, you talked about the project-based assessment if you opted out of the PSSA.
No, Keystone.
I'm sorry, the Keystone, oh, forget it. I withdraw my question.
So essentially you can, so a parent or guardian could opt out a student from the Keystones for religious reasons, but that would put them into the project-based assessment, which, as I will remind everybody over and over again, is not actually a project, as most of us would define a project, but is actually sitting at a computer and answering questions. So I don't know if that's the official description, but that's how I describe it.
That's exactly what it is.
It's not what most of us think when we talk about we'd like to see more project-based learning in schools. That's what we're talking about, so.
No, you're correct. PD continues to has its own unique definitions to certain educational terminology. Moving forward, the administration recommends that the Board of School Directors approve the contract with True North Logic for development and use of performance management suite for and with teachers, counselors, principals, assistant principals, and supervisors, and non-instructional staff. The contract is for the 2015 school year at a cost of $63,080. Did I skip one? I'll go back.
Okay,
I
no,
apologize.
Keep going with that one. Go back.
Yes, and I do want to say that that contract is still under solicitor review. There's still a piece of language that we need to work through.
Questions and discussion on the motion? I'm sorry, on the True North Logic contract. Diane? Maureen?
Just so that, I just want to reiterate something that we said in the facilities meeting, but the contract will ensure that they're not allowed to use our logo or data for marketing purposes, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Or we won't enter into it. Yeah, if they
Right,
were-
unless,
that's a deal breaker.
yes.
Right, we actually discussed that in curriculum as well, which is what I reported, that in addition to the ownership of the data, that we were ensuring the mechanisms that the data itself was, the student data was private, and school data was private.
Correct. And those changes have been made. They're in True North's hands right now, and they know they're going to be told if they don't agree to them, then there's not going to be a contract.
Additional questions?
Oh, sorry, I just
Dr.
remembered
Gilbert.
something. No, I just remembered something, that the administration was going to present the replacement cost analysis for us, I believe. Would you be able to do that? I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that. In other words, it's $63,000 for the first year, $23,000 per additional year, and it was replacing approximately $12,000 plus per year, but we were going to do a more detailed analysis of that and report it. Sorry.
Sure. The Tembo tool that we are using this year, and just want to make sure that everyone understands, as we talked about in the curriculum committee and we talked about at the facility and purchasing meeting, they're not comparable. The Tembo tool is a static workbook through an Excel document. The Tembo tool for this year was, as we said, we gave the price of that. In order to add anything to the Tembo tool, there's a significant cost because it is a static tool. So in order to add that, we would have to, for next year, the tool for non-teaching professionals, the tool for principals, assistant principals, and assistant principals, the cost would be $28,000 additional. So there would be a $28,000 fee next year, and any time there'd be something added to the Tembo tool would be an additional cost thereafter. So certainly what we're finding from the state with the evaluation tools is they are ever changing. And with the Tembo tool, anytime they change, there would be an additional cost for that change. Whereas with True North Logic, all of that is built in to the costs.
It's my understanding, just we talked about this in curriculum, I just want to let people know that the reason why you originally went with Tembo is we were actually trying to get a sense of what our needs were. So we took the time, the administration took the time to figure out what was what our needs were going to be in this new system. gave time to being able to look at what other districts were doing and what was working and what wasn't. And so I think it was, very commendable about the way that you went about doing it.
Thank you. It was a prudent decision. I mean, there's so many tools out there, as you can imagine now, with every state going to this. So we took our time in making this decision.
Well, I have to say that, unfortunately, this is just one of many examples of unfunded mandates. With Act 82, it requires school districts to adopt a platform that does this level of work. And we're trying very hard to think, could we do this from the ground with an Excel document without going to one of the major vendors? And obviously we found that there was just no way to do that, and the cost to do that was significant. So this price tag, if we are going to keep a running record, adds on to the cost of the district with an Act 82 that came with no funds. That the state said, here's a new evaluation system, find a way to implement it, find a way to monitor it, find a way to give good feedback to teachers, and you're on your own. So I wanted to say that that is not a cost that we would have normally liked to incur, but because we're a public school system that has to follow PDE guidelines, we have to move in that direction.
And with the addition of the new principal effectiveness model and supervisor effectiveness model, that just keeps adding on. And this product can do all of those things.
Any additional questions, discussion? Okay. It comes from you.
Well, you did the
You already
motion.
made the recommendation?
It's still pending.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second?
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to go back, since I false started, to the previous action item. The administration recommends that the Board of School Directors approves the overnight trip request for the attached CS-1 Lower Merion High School Speech Club to state competition in Selinsgrove, Grove, PA on March 20th to 21st, 2015, and CS-2 Harrington High School Debate and Speech Teams trip to state championships in the same location on March 20th through 21st, 2015.
Any questions, discussion? Please.
Yeah, Dr. Merced, this is the same destination, the same event, right? So on one, it has listed registration fees, judge fees, bus driver lodging, and on the other one, it doesn't. So are both schools registering through the one?
Yes and no. But we do realize that, well, first of all, they're the same activity. So even though there was some wording in terms of the club and the debate team, they're the same team across the board. We spent some time earlier today trying to ascertain what is the different cost to Lower Merion High School versus Harrington for that particular student who was a sole qualifier of that. So there's only one student who's a sole qualifier from Lower Merion High School, as opposed to the 25 students from Harrington.
Well, that makes a difference. So do you have to, then, if you just bring one student, you don't have to pay the registration fee and all that other, or are they going to go with the Harrington?
They're actually going to go with Harrington, and we adjusted some of the costs on there. Ms. LaPera and I caught that today, and we adjusted some of the costs and actually just contacted the sponsor at Lower Merion, who is going to adjust that.
Any additional questions, discussion? Is there a motion to approve? Is there a second? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. The administration recommends that the Board of School Directors approves the project-based assessment summer school program that will run June 22nd to July 31st, 2015 at a cost of $8,000.
Questions and discussion?
I just want to say that was reported on in because of the snow days and that was reported on in the last curriculum meeting. So it was discussed in the curriculum committee and it was reported at the previous business meeting.
Thank you, Dr. Gilbert. Any additional questions or discussion? Please.
Just because it's been a while, so that's the cost to the district, not that cost we'll be charging students who require that, right?
You're correct.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I'm on my platform, I apologize. I do want to say that this is another example of an additional cost with unfunded mandates. And it's extremely disturbing because I can imagine school districts who do not have the academic accolades that we do with regards to the success rate with the PSSAs or the Keystones, and for students who unfortunately have to navigate this, and school districts who have to find the cost to do that. And oftentimes that is to the detriment of something else. Again, we can keep running that tally of the cost for PDE's Infinite Wisdom.
A question, is this program for summer school, and maybe Dr. Gilbert covered it in the the report last time, is this voluntary for our students, or are we requiring them to come for summer?
It is definitely voluntary. Our idea was let's offer a couple options for students so that if a student does not want to complete the project during the school year because it would take away from something else that would be in their schedule, something that might make them want to come to school rather than the project, that we would offer it as another option to do it over the summer. And it should also be noted that we put aside 3 weeks in our best estimate in looking at the project and in working with teachers who have already started this with students. We think that's the maximum amount of time it should take a student. If a student finishes it prior to 3 weeks, they're finished. But that's our best guess is how long it maximally could take a student to complete.
Thank you, Ms. Hockfield. And thank you for offering that opportunity for students who may want to free up their schedules during the regular year. Any additional questions or discussion? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. The administration recommends that the Board of School Directors approves the student services items as listed. Agreements for students receiving non-district educational services per the attached exhibits SS-1 through SS-4.
Questions and discussion? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We will now have the report of the Facilities and Purchasing Committee by Mr. Driscoll.
Thank you, Dr. Van Lynch. We met this past Thursday, March 12th, 8:30 in this room, and as typical, we reviewed the list of bills out of the gate, and then we moved on to review a contract for resurfacing the track at Harridan. The red surface is wearing through, leaving the underlying surface exposed to the rain and the sun. The Harridan track was redone in, I think, around 2006 with the high school construction projects, and the end of the useful life of that red top is coming to an end, but that's as expected. It's only got 7, 8, 9 years of life in it. So the cost of this type of maintenance has also been allotted for in Pat's operations budget. He knew this was coming at some point. So this was described as a situation to spend some money now to just do the surface type, the red surface, as opposed to waiting until the black underlayment gets destroyed and then spending a lot more money. Point of reference, Lower Marion's track was done about 2 years ago. And we also did discuss that the track is an integral part of the township. A lot of residents use it on their spare time and on weekends. We then also did discuss the contract for True North. We did discuss getting it through solicitor review. As pointed out, the merits or the usefulness of the software was discussed at curriculum committee, and we just had conversations about the merits of the contract. We also received an update on elementary and middle school and the expansion projects. generally speaking, the vast majority of work at both Penn Valley Elementary and Gladwin is mostly complete. We still have a few issues, few outstanding issues. We have some potential issues with constructions at Welsh Valley, but we need to get more information as to where that's going to take us. We had some scheduling issues arise several months ago. The schedule's been redone, and we're optimistic that we are back on schedule, plus or minus a few days. The last thing we discussed was we enrolled as a district in the demand response program. This is about 2 years ago. The district signed up to this program, by which on high energy days, the district has the option to run around and reduce its usage, turning off air conditioning units, lighting where you can. This is a 3-year contract, so we're just seeing how often we can hit those high peak days and actually turn things off. A great difficulty in that is having a high peak day when students aren't here, and getting that, we can only time so much. So hopefully we have another year or two in that, one more year, thank you, and see how it goes, and then maybe renew it thereafter. Our next meeting is scheduled for April 16th in the morning in this room. Thank you.
Under the Business Office and Finance, we already did D&E, so I'm going to do A, B, F, and G all in one motion. So the recommended actions are to approve the list of bills, approve the financial report for February 2015, authorize the district solicitor's office to execute a settlement stipulation resolving the assessment appeal for the parcel number 40-00-68008-00-1, and continue the tax deferral for Marilyn Gesner of Narberth, PA.
Questions and discussion? Is there a motion to approve? So moved. Is there a second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Under Facilities and Operations, we have 2 recommended action items. The first is to, the administration recommends to approve the execution of the agreement of sale for the district-owned property at 111 Union Avenue in Ballackinwood as per the resolution, and approve the proposal from Miller Flooring for the replacement of the synthetic running track at Harrington High School for a lump sum of $206,000.
Questions, discussion? Is there a motion to approve? So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Old business from the Board of School Directors. I have one update for the board and the public before I move to Ms. Robinson's report of the Policy Committee. Okay. So just quickly, just as an update on the superintendent search, as you're aware, the Board of School Directors is currently engaged in a national search for a new superintendent, which began last August, with the board's appointment of BWP and Associates, who began the initial phase of the search process, which included engaging the board and community stakeholders. The community engagement phase of the search occurred throughout the month of December 2014, with the launching of an online survey as well as the facilitation of over 70 focus groups and forums that enabled more than 1,000 district stakeholders to participate in the process. After gathering this data, a leadership profile was developed and used for advertising the position. The position was posted on the websites of BWP, Education Week, and the American Association of School Administrators for 6 weeks between the months of December and February. The position was also placed in the print version of Education Week. On Monday, March 2nd, 2015, BWP and Associates met with the Board of School Directors in executive session and presented a slate of 38 candidates from 16 different states, 21 of whom have superintendent experience. BWP is recommending that the Board of School Directors consider 7 of those candidates for interviews. The board is pleased that Dr. Marseille is among the candidates brought forth for consideration. The board will conduct interviews during the months of March and April and plans to arrive at a decision by May 2015. On behalf of the board, we want to thank the community and the district for actively engaging in this process and look forward to the board identifying the best candidate to serve as superintendent of the school district. All questions for the board regarding the search can be submitted to community comments at lmsd.org. I will now move to Ms. Robinson's report of the policy committee.
Thank you, Dr. Van Lynch. The policy committee met this morning, March 16th at 8:30 a.m. We were postponed from March 5th due to snow. Up for second reading this month is policy number 125, summer programs. It details that Lower Merion will have summer school classes for students to catch up, get ahead, or simply try something new. Then we went on to policy 908 and the administrative regulations for volunteers. We reviewed this policy and administrative regulations, noting that several changes needed to be made prior to sending this to a first reading. The changes will bring us in compliance with the Child Protective Services law change that will go into effect for periods beginning July 1st, 2015. So all qualifying volunteers of the district must get child clearances every 3 years beginning July 1st. And the administration is undertaking an approach to notify and educate affected parties about these legal changes. We went on to discuss policy 808, food services for free and reduced. This policy states that individuals that qualify for free and reduced lunch must fill out the required forms each year for nutritional services to obtain them. We also went over a policy 152, which is a new policy, participation in curricular programs and activities by economically disadvantaged students. It states that individuals, students who qualify for free and reduced lunch can qualify for additional services such as funds for field trips and other school-related activities. Our schools are already providing access to funds for activities that are above and beyond those qualifying for free and reduced lunch through partnering with HSAs, and this policy does not replace that relationship. Rather, this policy codifies something that is already occurring to parents and guardians so that they are aware of their options should their children need additional financial assistance. All qualifying individuals' information is kept strictly confidential. We did not discuss, but we have tabled for discussion, policy 130, guidelines concerning religion, for further discussion to be held on May 8th, as certain religious leaders in our community wanted to provide input in this process. And the next policy committee meeting will be April 10th here in this room at 8:30 a.m. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Robinson. The following policy was reviewed for a second reading. Policy 125, summer programs. Are there questions or discussion regarding policy 125? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. On to Board of Directors' new business. The Board of School Directors thanks and nominates Virginia Pollard to act as the school district representative on the Montgomery County Intermediate Unit Board of Directors for the 3-year term ending June 30th, 2018. Again, a huge thank you to Ms. Pollard for taking on this yet another service responsibility, and we appreciate her leadership. Are there questions or discussion? Is there a motion to approve? Is there a second? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you again, Ms. Pollard. We really appreciate it.
You get double what you were getting paid before.
We will now have a report of the Legislative Committee from Dr. O'Leary.
Thank you. Our last legislative meeting, we had the legislative forum, which I thought I reported on because it seems like it was 2 years ago, but I guess I haven't. And so now I'm going to do this off the top of my head. But Mary Jo Daly showed up, Tim Briggs, Merle Zucker from Pam DeLisso's office, and Zach Hoover from Dalen Leach's office showed up. And we discussed anything that came up, including standardized testing, budget, unfunded mandates, and anything else. We had a good conversation, and we really sincerely thank them for their time, and it was well attended by both the administration, the teachers, and the community. Our next meeting is on the 24th, when we'll discuss HR 5, which is the federal legislation which would renew No Child Left Behind Act, and we'll also talk about a possible resolution regarding standardized testing. Oh, and that's 8:30 a.m. in this room.
Thank you, Dr. O'Leary. We'll now have a report of the Communications Committee from Ms. Ackman.
Yes, thank you. Dr. Marseille actually covered a lot of the highlights we talked about at the meeting, but there are a few he did not mention, including TEDx, which is a second annual event coming up the last Friday in May, which is a student-driven event, which sounds like it will be fantastic. We had a little bit of discussion and reflection about the Second Girls Leadership Conference, which happened recently, was highly successful. Our board president was able to welcome everyone, which was great. And we had a little bit of discussion about our speaker series in partnership with Drexel's Close School, which is focused on innovation, and therefore happening this spring and are very well attended. So we also talked about just the Innovation Center and all of these activities going on, and making sure that folks who maybe don't think of themselves as entrepreneurs or focused on for-profit businesses realize that these are skills that are transferable to social innovation and social impact. So we talked a little bit about maybe changing the language a little bit as we think more about this as part of the implementation of the strategic plan. And the next part of the meeting, we spend a fair amount of time talking about what we're going to call some version of the Community Resource Network, which is something that we will implement on behalf of the board once we refine the details a little bit more specifically. But the intent is really also to be an implementation vehicle for the strategic plan and engage members of the community in being able to help us secure resources and think more strategically about how we partner with community assets here and leverage folks in the community in our schools. So more detail to come. We're hoping to move that forward fast. And the final thing I wanted to mention as a follow-up to your report, Melissa, is that there was some more discussion about appropriate communication about issues with PSSAs and how we as the board, using our board newsletter or other vehicles, could choose to communicate more information to parents and students. So I think that's something we're considering as part of the March board update if we feel like it's necessary. Thank you. Oh, the next meeting will be, as mentioned earlier, April 22nd at 7 p.m. here.
Thank you, Ms. Ackman. We will now take audience recognition on non-agenda or any item at this point. Seeing none.
I don't know if Dr. Doria went to say no? Okay.
All right, so moving on to Sunshine Act reports. In accordance with Act 93 of 1998, Sunshine Law, the Board of School Directors met in executive information sessions on the following dates and discussed personnel on February 23rd, personnel, real estate, and litigation on March 2nd, personnel, real estate, and litigation on March 9th, personnel, real estate, and litigation on March 16th. Upcoming meeting dates: Tuesday, March 17th, Finance Committee, 8:30 a.m. Tuesday, March 24th, Legislative Committee, 8:30 a.m. Monday, April 6th, Curriculum Committee meeting, 8:30 a.m. Friday, April 10th, Policy Committee, 8:30 a.m. April 16th, Facilities Purchasing, 8:30 a.m. Monday, April 20th, Regular Board Business Meeting, 8 p.m. Tuesday, April 22nd, Communications, 7 p.m. And Wednesday, April 29th, Legislative Committee, 7 p.m. And just a note to the public that the April 13th Education Committee meeting has been canceled. I see your hand on your mic. You want to talk? Okay. Okay. So with that, we are adjourned.